Alright, y'all, it's that time again where someone said something about Smash Online, and so now we gotta talk about it. So an old leak on 4chan has surfaced talking about the final few Smash characters because this post is from before even Pyra and Mythra were revealed. So I'm going to quickly go through what they said and what people are pointing to being correct, and then I'm going to give my thoughts on this leak overall. Alright, so the first thing they say is that the next character will be revealed this time next month. So the post was on the 26th of January, and the Nintendo Direct that revealed Pyra and Mythra was late February, so they're kind of right here. But more specifically, they're right about the fact that it was a Nintendo presentation and not a Smash Ultimate Direct. The next thing they say is that the character will appease audiences both East and West, but it won't break the internet, and a fair amount of people will be angry at their inclusion. I'm going to save my thoughts on that for a little bit later. The next point he says is that the next character is a less expected rep of a beloved third-party series that's already in Smash. Many people thought this series would receive more representation in the base game. If we're following the timeline, then this is talking about Kazuya, who is indeed from a third-party series that is already in Smash because of the Heihachi costume. So the next thing they say is that the final fighter is a Capcom character from a game that doesn't involve action. Dante is a Mii costume, lol, and so is Monster Hunter. So obviously they were right about the Dante and Monster Hunter Mii costumes, and so that is making everyone look at the Capcom hint and thinking that it might be Phoenix Wright because he's one of the few Capcom characters that is not from some kind of an action game. They then say that the second Fighter Pass has a bonus character which has been speculated for some time, and that it's from the Zelda series and it's going to release alongside or shortly after the Capcom character. There isn't going to be a third pass, but there is a playful statement in the final presentation saying not to be surprised if more content randomly drops. And then they give us a bit of an info dump talking about companies and studios that they know are involved with Smash from that point forward. Activision, Epic, Game Freak, Sega, Valve, Capcom, Microsoft, Monolith, Bandai Namco, Steel Wool, Arc System, and Konami. And then they give a disclaimer about how this doesn't mean anything with regards to the final character or the Mii Fighter costumes, like nothing is a guarantee, because even the small things like spirits, they need to be properly licensed out. So these companies are going to have talks, even if, Epic Games puts a Jonesy spirit in the game. That PNG needs to be licensed, and so Epic Games needs to be put into, the gigantic copyright thing at the bottom of, Smash trailers and stuff like that. And then they say, and this is a big one, as far as concrete fighters go after the Zelda one, I know for sure the final will be Waluigi. Yes, I know Sakurai is breaking his own rules, and I heavily suspect a Fortnite guy will be the first after Pass 2, but don't know for sure. And then he says that he's not going to be responding anymore, and there aren't going to be any images or videos because, it's risky for their future sources. So, typical leaker stuff. Alright, so I definitely have some thoughts on this leak, but overall, I'm pretty underwhelmed, and I'm surprised that this got any traction. A lot of people are pointing to the comments about the two characters discussed in this leak and how Pyra and Mythra and Kazuya fit perfectly what this leaker is talking about. And it's not that I disagree, it's just that, yeah, any character could apply to these statements because they're just that vague. The statement about the character that went on to be Pyra and Mythra could literally be about any character. And a character that's going to appease audiences both East and West, it won't break the internet, and a fair amount of people will be angry at their inclusion. It can be argued that nearly any character has a fan base in the East and the West, and literally every character edition has some people who are mad or disappointed. So literally the first sentence only needs a character to be not super popular for it to be considered true. Banjo and Kazooie are probably the most Western-focused character that we've had for Smash DLC, but it can even be argued that they have a fan base in the East. It's just so vague that dozens of characters could apply to this statement. And the same can be said about the statement regarding Kazuya. That statement was basically just a third-party series in Smash that people expected to have more representation in the base game. This statement is pretty much an opinion, so all it had to be was from a series that we've already seen in Smash. Now granted, this is a more specific statement with regards to something already in Smash, but it's still something that could be easily guessed. I mean, there are dozens of series that are represented in Smash that have no characters. Imagine if this had been a Paper Mario or a Shadow the Hedgehog. The statement would still technically be true, but the character would be totally different. The only credit that I can give this leak is the Dante Mii costume, Monster Hunter Mii costume, and I guess the rough timeline for when a Nintendo Direct was gonna drop. Like I said, everything else is just far too general for me to believe that they were talking about Pyra and Mithra and Kazuya. The whole concept of random content drops also seems really out of character for Smash, at least with regards to full-on characters. We've had random spirit drops that sort of coordinate with other game releases, but as far as characters go, big major content, it's been very, very organized this time around. They could have made this argument for Smash 4 and I would have believed it. That game was very, very scattered with its DLC. But Smash Ultimate has been very organized. They've given us charts letting us know how many characters are out. They give us heads up when characters are going to be revealed. I just don't think that we're going to randomly receive content for Smash. If they did it like that, it would be really unexpected, and the last like 3 years worth of DLC characters and like the pattern and schedule that they have built up, it would just be thrown out the window. Not to mention the fact that Sakurai has been repeatedly stating that we are almost at the end. The last character is the last character. As far as the final characters go though, I just don't even know if I have much to say. I'm down for a new Zelda character. It's been since Brawl, since we've had someone from the Zelda series. I'm always down for Waluigi as well. I've said that he would be a cool character for the longest time. And of course he mentions Fortnite, which I'm down for, but again, I just don't know how reliable this is. I mean, it's just words on 4chan as far as I'm concerned. The leaker also mentioned as many game companies as they possibly could have, which like, okay. I mean, we're talking about wide nets here. He listed like a dozen different companies, so this is like the widest net of all. All in all, maybe this guy actually does know something. I mean, maybe the Dante Mii costume thing wasn't a lucky guess and they actually saw it with their own eyes, or their source was able to confirm it or something, but personally, I don't know. I mean, it's really the only thing that we have to go off of. Even the Monster Hunter Mii costumes isn't really that impressive of a guess because we've been getting returning costumes constantly throughout the entire DLC cycle, so it was just assumed that at some point we were going to get the Monster Hunter Miis. So between the Dante Mii costume and the vague guess of a late February Nintendo Direct, that's really all this person has. So I personally just don't think it's worth even considering credible. That's kind of how I work with most leaks, unless it's really, really convincing. But I saw this one like get talked about online and people were talking about it being, you know, legitimate. And I was just surprised that this was taken legitimate because it's just so incredibly vague. But I would love to know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. I'm sure many of you are going to be like me and immediately dismiss this, especially because it's just anonymous from 4chan. But if you have any thoughts, I would love to see them down in those comments. If I missed anything, please let me know. And with all that said, I think that is going to do it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.